70 degrees and sunny in Lubbock, Texas. The Red Raiders back home, hosting Kansas State today at Jones AT&T Stadium. Got a great day of college football. Thank you for starting with us today with Evan Moore, Kevin Fitzgerald. So both teams are 4-4 and recently have suffered 3-game losing streaks. So they start the push towards bowl eligibility today. For Texas Tech, how did they go 4 quarters sustaining offense against a really stout defense?
Yeah, you said it, Kevin. It's November football. Both teams are 4-4, get a chance to get one step closer to bowl contention today. And if Texas Tech is going to do it, they're going to do it on the shoulders of their senior quarterback, Nik Shimonek. Outstanding player, put up big numbers all year long in this system. He's done it by taking care of the football and being an efficient passer, and he's leaned on some really good wide receivers. Keke Coutee, Dylan Cantrell, and Cameron Batson, a host of number of different guys that do things really well after the catch especially. Going to be a lot of fun to watch this offense today.
Sort of the best aerial attacks. We may see about 10 wide receivers today. Okay, on the other side, the Hall of Fame head coach, Bill Snyder, has had a decision this week. His number one option, Jesse Ertz, is inactive today at quarterback. We've seen Alex Delton. He's used Skylar Thompson. You've gathered your information this week. Who are we going to see?
Well, that's the question of the week. Who's going to play quarterback for the Kansas State Wildcats? It's an offense that takes care of the football really, really well. Alex Delton had his first start against TCU a few weeks ago. Did really well the following week against OU. Skylar Thompson actually got some time last week against Kansas. Whoever's the guy that gets more snaps today is going to have a big responsibility to possess the football and keep the ball out of this Texas Tech offense's hands. I expect to see Alex more than Skylar today, but I think over the course of the day, we'll see both of these guys get some action.
They're going to face a Texas Tech defense that is now without their starting middle linebacker, Jordan Brooks. He is out with an illness. 67 degrees, sunny skies in Lubbock, Texas. Beautiful day for football. Texas Tech and Kansas State about to kick it off in just a moment. Cliff Kingsbury's team, they won the toss. They defer. Kansas State will take the kickoff. DJ Reedy might be the most dangerous man in the conference.
Been a big difference maker all year for them in the return game. 189 return yards last week against Kansas. Gave him his second Big 12 Special Teams Player of the Week honor. And they rely on him to get a big start for them. I would be surprised to see Texas Tech actually kick him the ball to start this game. Should be interesting to see how the Texas Tech special teams unit handles it, because DJ Reed has proven to be a dangerous weapon in the special teams game.
Second in the country in kick return yard average. Excellent a week ago, as you pointed out.
Such a critical component of what this Kansas State team does. Got to be good on special teams.
And away we go. Matthew Cluck sends it deep into the end zone. Returnable out to the 20-yard line, and that's where Kansas State will get things started. Byron Pringle with a decent return. Well, we've been asking the question all week. Will Jesse Ertz be back? Will Alex Delton be ready to go after taking a hit to the helmet? Will we see Skylar Thompson? As you pointed out, here comes Delton.
There's our answer. We knew it would come at the first snap, and Alex Delton's a guy that, again, got his first start against TCU a few weeks ago. Got a lot better in his second start against the University of Oklahoma. Had them on the ropes 21-10 at halftime at home there in Manhattan. They expect big things, more improvement from here today as he runs this run-first offensive system.
And it's Alex Barnes, his tailback in the backfield with him. First down give to Barnes, who is over 100 yards in each of the last 2 weeks.
And we know the threat this Kansas State offense brings, but one thing to keep in mind as well is how this Texas Tech defense chooses to defend against this run-heavy offense. This is an anomaly in Big 12 football. A team that runs the ball as much as Kansas State does is not something Texas Tech sees every week. So David Gibbs spent some extra time drawing some stuff up this week that we'll get to as far as actually how they choose to defend it over the course of the game.
Yeah, Kansas State rushes for about 200 yards per game. Second best in the conference. We'll see plenty of Barnes. Pass tipped. A third down coming up for Kansas State. Looking for Dominique Heath.
Yeah, good answer in that quick pass game is to get those hands up in throwing lanes. Do a good job of batting that ball down. But again, this Kansas State defense, this offense, because they run the ball so much, they typically see very simplified coverages on the back end. A lot of man-to-man because safeties are down in run support. So it's going to be important for Alex Delton to be an accurate passer and get the ball out of his hands quickly when he does get the chance to throw.
Kansas State has struggled on third downs this year, converting only about 32% of the time. 7 yards to go, pocket held for a moment, and the catch is made. There goes Byron Pringle, out past the 40.
That's an outstanding job by the Texas Tech unit getting to Alex Delton. But if you watch here, Pringle normally wouldn't have this much time to run this route against pressure. But he runs the 9-yard stop route and comes back after a really good throw by Alex Delton. Look at the pocket here. It's not clean because they're bringing pressure. Alex Delton even has to double clutch. Gets rid of the football and throws a nice ball down the field to Pringle, who's had issues with drops this year, and that's a nice job bringing in that catch for the first down.
Yeah, Pringle, the junior from Tampa, Florida. So a couple passes early on. First down at the 41. Give to the outside for Barnes. Picks up a little more than 10 yards.
Barnes, a really good runner, has just enough burst. Not a big speed guy, but has just enough burst to get around the outside. And the threat they also possess on offense with Alex Delton keeps the defense honest. The backside of that defense has to keep their eyes on Alex Delton because they know he may keep the ball. But if he ends up handing the ball off to, in that case, to Alex Barnes, big yards.
Saw the numbers from the last couple weeks against Kansas and Oklahoma. Barnes keeps his feet and then stuck right at the line. Bill Snyder, this is his 26th year as the head coach at Kansas State. He's been here for all but 3 years since 1989, the Hall of Famer.
He's done an outstanding job. A lot of people call it the greatest turnaround in college football history after he got to Manhattan. And all he has done is win games and get the most out of everybody that comes to Manhattan. And he just deserves a ton of credit for his illustrious career. And that last play, Kevin, an outstanding play by the freshman Rico Jeffords, who's starting for Jordan Brooks.
We'll see number 11 in the black a bunch today. Pass tipped, hits the turf. That was Vontae Dorsey who came over, got his hands on it. And lucky for Delton, 3rd and 9.
Good job by the Tech defense. That was a corner route, trying to find that hole in that 2-deep coverage. If you watch, Alex Delton just leaves it a little bit behind the receiver, Dominic Heath, and that's a dangerous throw because the speed at this level, as he undercuts it, he catches that thing, that likely goes back for 6. You have to lead him on a play like that and make it so only Dominic Heath is the one that can catch it, or it's thrown out of bounds.
Kansas State has to get to the 26. Delton to throw again. Pass caught short of the first down. Dalton Schoen got 12, needed 14. That ball is spotted just inside the 30-yard line. Kansas State is an excellent field goal kicker in Matthew McCrane, the redshirt senior, a semifinalist on the Lou Groza award list. That's given to the best kicker annually.
Well, you got to credit that Kansas State offensive line for giving Alex Delton just enough time to push the ball down the field. The objective there was not to get a first down. The objective was to get a more manageable field goal, and they've done that here. This is much more manageable than where they were prior to that pass.
McCrane is hit from 54. This from 45, and he nails it. So Kansas State, 3 points on its opening drive in Lubbock. 11-play, 51-yard drive for Kansas State. Matthew McCrane connects on a 45-yard field goal. And Evan, that was exactly what Cliff Kingsbury did not want to see. About 5.5 minutes taken off the clock, but Kansas State, nice job there moving down the field.
Yeah, if you're Bill Snyder, that's how you draw it up. And you want to give this Texas Tech offense limited possessions. You want to make them earn the points that they usually score. This is a team at home in November that's averaged over 50 points a game the last few years. Do a ton of scoring, and sometimes the best defense against that is a really good offense that possesses the ball, and that's exactly what Bill Snyder wanted.
McCrane gives Cameron Batson no chance to return that one. So Texas Tech gets it. There's Nik Shimonek. What do you expect from the offense today? We know it's the aerial attack. What do you want to see, though?
Well, the question this year has been how teams have chose to defend the aerial attack that Texas Tech possesses. A lot of times they've seen people sit back in zones and keep everything in front of them. Cliff expects to see that today. Tom Hayes, the defensive coordinator for Kansas State, he's had more multiple coverages this year, and he's exposed himself at times. They've allowed 2 400-yard passers the last 2 weeks. They don't want to allow Nik Shimonek to do that this week, so it's important for them to keep everything in front of them and make this Texas Tech offense grind out drives. It's not something they're comfortable doing. But if you're Texas Tech, on the other hand, we know what they want to do. They want to push the ball down the field.
Here is Shimonek, opened up with 12 running plays in their opening drive last week against Oklahoma. It was Trey King then. It's Trey King now for a first down, the junior college transfer.
Trey King did some really good things last week against Oklahoma, and this offense did, in the first half, kind of took what Oklahoma was willing to give them. They'll do it again this week if they see the looks they want.
Another first down. This time it's Coutee again. 11 yards.
They wanted to take a shot there deep to Cameron Batson. He was double covered. I think this Kansas State defense has had enough of giving up big plays like they've done the last 2 weeks in the secondary. They're being sure to protect themselves deep.
Yeah, bottom of the conference in pass defense. Delayed give, nearing midfield. Nice pickup that time by Stockton. He's the senior you just pointed out.
That's a great strategy for a game like this. If they're going to sit back in zone and not bring pressure, and they run a draw here with Stockton, great pass, allow everyone to drop back into their lanes and hand the ball off quickly to a guy that can get out and do some damage when you're playing soft coverage.
King and Stockton both in the backfield. Shimonek, mobile. And gets rid of it. Second down coming up.
Good job getting rid of the football. And over the course of the year, 22 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions. And his ability to take care of the football consistently is something that Cliff Kingsbury has talked a lot about, and it's really important in this offense. And it's also why they're +7 in turnover ratio this year.
And the efficiency, too. Completes at 70%. Is top 10 of the country in completion percentage, total yards, touchdowns.
Kansas State giving this mug look by the linebackers to appear like they're bringing pressure. A lot of times they do this to get the quarterback to adjust, and they may fall back into coverage. They're going to bring them.
Here they come. Shimonek gets it away. Back to Vasher again.
And again, if you're Tom Hayes, the defensive coordinator for Kansas State, you might test some things early on with pressure, but if Nik Shimonek quickly finds the answers consistently, he'll get away from that stuff because what he's doing is he's testing him. Can you find answers to what I'm bringing? And if he does it like he just did there, he won't see much pressure the rest of the game.
Six yards to go. Texas Tech has to get to the 38. Shimonek started at Iowa. That was a number of years ago. Transferred to Texas Tech. Waited 3 years. Now a starter. And down the boundary, Vasher pulled up. And that pass sailed a little too high.
Yeah, I expected them there to try to take advantage of that matchup to the boundary with their big receiver, a 6'5" young guy. But a lot of times what you see defenses do with big guys is come up to the line of scrimmage and jam them at the line of scrimmage and make that big receiver prove that he can effectively get off press. And there, T.J. Vasher was unable to get a good release at the line. It disrupted the timing of the route. If you saw, Nik Shimonek was ready to throw that football well before he had finished his route. And credit the defense for really jamming him well at the line of scrimmage.
Reed once again is back. That one bounces, and it may have slid right out at the 1.
Textbook, just like you drew it up, right?
Dominic Panizzolo. Great punt. Kansas State is stuck at the 1. Kansas State back on offense, up 3-0. Dimmel throws a block. Delton up to the 20-yard line.
Yeah, yesterday we had a chance to talk to Texas Tech defensive coordinator David Gibbs, and he said, hey, at times this Kansas State offensive attack is like Navy. It's like the wishbone. And you do see some similarities there. That was a true option play as Alex Delton takes off and had the option to pitch it to the running back, Alex Barnes, but elects to keep it himself. And the other thing to keep in mind here is how much they put these guys at risk at the quarterback position. They've already lost Jesse Ertz. Bill Snyder knows this, that, hey, we ask our quarterbacks to run quite a bit, and naturally they do take some hits. So you got to be careful because we got to keep these guys healthy.
Well, and Kansas State has a 3-0 lead after one. Texas Tech scoreless in the first quarter. Wildcats continue when we return for the second. 2nd and 5 for Kansas State, already with a 3-0 lead over Texas Tech. Couple teams that are 4-4 looking to push towards bowl eligibility. Hand off in wide open space for Justin Silman, approaching midfield. First down and way more.
And a great job by the Kansas State offensive line on the left side, creating enough of a hole. This is something they do so well. In their gap running scheme, they pull guys around. If you see there, number 71, Dalton Reisner, he's the guy that leads the way and creates just enough of a hole in this Texas Tech secondary, which has gone through a significant rebuild this year. 7 new guys on the back end. The only returning starter, Jashawn Johnson's not even on the field right now, missing the first half due to the targeting penalty against Oklahoma. Got to do a better job tackling. If it gets to the second level, it's on that secondary to do a better job tackling and stay in that hole.
42 yards for Silman. Dominique Heath pounded down, no gain.
Tackle made by number 4, Desmond Smith. Loss of 1 yard on the play.
One of the best rush offenses in the conference, about 200 yards per game. And we're questioning whether Alex Delton would be ready to go for this game, and he's leading the show so far.
He is, yeah. He's got his 8 carries to Alex Barnes' 4. For a guy that didn't even know if he was going to play to come in and be the leading rusher early on, he made a decision to rely on him quite a bit in this first half.
Took a hit to the helmet last week against Kansas. A couple big bodies ahead. That play blown up in the backfield, and Tony Jones brings him down for a loss of 1.
It's a good job by Tony Jones staying home. You have a mobile athletic quarterback like this, and he drops back to pass, and that's what that was, a drop back pass. And he doesn't see anything. He's going to take off running, so it's important for these guys to stay home and maintain, contain, and keep their lanes, because if you get out of the way with Alex Delton, he can make you pay. Good job by the young guy, Tony Jones.
We touched on Kansas State's troubles converting on 3rd downs this year. Today, 3 of 5, 11 yards to go. Wildcats have to get to the 29. Bit of a rush, floated, nice catch, and a pickup with a first down and more for Isaiah Zuber. Inside the red zone, 25 yards on the catch and run.
It's a great job by Alex Delton converting, but the key to this play is on the interior. They get some pressure. Right here, right up the middle, they get the pressure, and watch Alex Barnes pick this thing up. So critical for him to be able to pick that blitz up, because if he's unsuccessful in doing that, Alex Delton does not have the time to hold on to the ball and allow Isaiah Zuber to get open. And that's the key to that play. It's an outstanding job by Alex Barnes.
Another open running lane, and into the end zone, Dalvin Warmack. Touchdown, Kansas State.
What a job by Alex Delton and his vision. Like we said before, he's so patient, he's going to end up cutting it back this way, and watch Alex Delton seal that backside for him. Alex Delton's the reason he's able to have that backside cutback hole. Oh, excuse me, not even Alex Delton, it's Warmack. And when he saw that backside, the vision there was critical for him. Great job.
Warmack, the redshirt junior, that's his 3rd touchdown of the season. So a 98-yard drive. Remember, this started all the way down the other end of the field. And Kansas State has a 10-0 lead on the road here in Lubbock.
Done a great job possessing the football, and they bring different bodies into that backfield. Delvin Warmack, big play for the touchdown.
Back in Lubbock after a 7-play, 98-yard drive. That's the longest of the season for the Wildcats. Kansas State takes a 10-0 lead on the road in Lubbock.
It's an impressive drive. Normally when you start on the two-yard line, your goal is to get a first down or 2 to give your punter a little more room to punt the ball, but it'll take it all the way down the field. Some big plays, too, on that drive as well.
Texas Tech back on offense, shut out in the first quarter. Catch and a first down, 11 yards that time to Dylan Cantrell, one of the captains of the offense.
It's going to be really important in this drive, Kevin, for this Texas Tech offense and Nik Shimonek to get into rhythm. They've yet to do that today, and this is such a rhythm passing game, so important for him to get a couple completions and get going here.
Shimonek stands tall, now starts to move out. And a little too much air underneath that one, going towards Coutee again.
And as expected, this Kansas State defense has not brought a ton of pressure. There's been times they've brought a fifth rusher, or they've varied maybe where they're bringing the fourth rusher from. For the most part, they want to sit back, play coverage, and keep things in front of them, which has proven to be an issue for the Texas Tech offense for the better part of the year.
Just the 69 yards in the first half. Go on the ground, and that was Trent Tanking who blew the play up. Couple yards for Stockton.
Trent Tanking does a good job of getting off that block. He had the right tackle, Terrence Steele, pulling around and plugging up that hole, and Tanking is able to shed that block and make the tackle. And that's such a big thing for a defensive player, especially a linebacker, your ability to use your hands and get off blocks and make plays.
3rd and long, and Texas Tech is not converted on either of its 2 previous 3rd downs.
Getting off schedule like this with 3rd and 8 makes it a lot tougher.
4 wideouts and Stockton in the backfield towards the boundary. Cantrell, he makes the catch and he was inbounds. It's a wide frame down the sideline.
That's what a big body will do for you to the boundary, and that's why they have him to the boundary. If you watch here, DJ Reed does a good job of jamming him and using the sideline. The sideline is his friend in this case. Doesn't give really a place to throw the ball, but Nik Shimonek throws a great ball and a good catch by Dylan Cantrell.
He's in trouble. Hip hopping out of the way. Takes off inside the 40. Shouldered down by Jade Kirby.
Now, Bill Snyder referenced this week that Nik Shimonek isn't necessarily known to be a runner, but he can run the ball when given the opportunity, so you have to respect it.
Some soft coverage and a completion back to Coutee. And here they go, starting to move downfield.
This is what I think if I'm Cliff Kingsbury, I want to get moving as quickly as possible on this drive. Like we said at the beginning, get into rhythm. So much of what Nik Shimonek does, he's a rhythm passer. He has to find that stride, and it looks like he's found it here on this drive.
King sidesteps 1. And finally stopped near the 25-yard line. That's Trey King.
Trey King has shown some good elusiveness the last couple weeks on that one. The receiver's unable to get to that first guy, and as a running back, you always want to make the first guy miss. That guy that comes off the nickel to make the first tackle puts a nice little move on him in the open field, and once again keeps them on schedule. Now 2nd and 3. This is much more manageable than putting yourself in 3rd and 7 and long situations.
Batson in motion, right into King's gut once again. Had 113 yards last week, and he's into the end zone again today. 25-yard run, Texas Tech on the board.
Really like what Cliff Kingsbury does here is he brings Cameron Batson in motion, and that jet sweep action that he creates causes that Kansas State defense to pause just enough to allow a larger hole for Trey King to run the football. This is what we're talking about right here. Watch him bring Cameron Batson across the formation, and that forces the linebackers to just stay flat-footed just long enough to allow those offensive linemen to get up and make their blocks. And if you have the speed and elusiveness of Trey King, all you need is an extra second. Outstanding job, big touchdown run to put Texas Tech on the board here.
This is important, by the way. Clayton Hatfield is back, their #1 option, kicking field goals and extra points, and he buries that one. So Tech back within 3. Trey King at Hutchinson Community College a year ago. Now he's the #1 option carrying the football at Texas Tech. Trey King, he ran in his 3rd touchdown of the year for Texas Tech. They're now on the board in the 2nd quarter. 59 yards for Texas Tech on its first 2 drives, and then you saw 75 yards there, moved it swiftly. 2 minutes, 38 seconds. All righty, here goes Pringle. He returned to kick for a touchdown last year against Texas Tech and out past the 40. You're right, we've seen them all. Winston Dimmels just looking for his first carry. He's the fullback. There he goes, and Delton sets his feet. Great catch in stride. Zuber again. And he's out of bounds. A redshirt sophomore from Stone Mountain, Georgia.
Really good job by Isaiah Zuber pushing this up the field, and he's going to make the illusion like he's running the post route. Boom, puts his foot back to run the post corner. And it's an easy throw because Alex Delton is rolling out to his right. So it's pitch and catch for those guys. And a really, really good route by Isaiah Zuber.
A couple of them. Catches of 18 and 25 yards today. Delton making his 4th straight start at quarterback. Zips it over the middle, another catch. Right back to Pringle for 20 more yards. These are big chunks of yards they're picking up.
And again, it's how they're dressing these plays up. You're going to see the guard pull around and create the illusion of run, which pulls the linebackers up. You watch 11 and 40 right there. Pulls them up quite a bit, creates a good throwing lane for Alex Delton, and he delivers the football once again. Look, you're making easy throws for Alex Delton by the way they're scheming up these pass plays and these play-action looks. Really good job by Dana Dimmel and this Kansas State offense.
And Delton is now 8 for 11, over 100 yards. Warmack with a touchdown run going that direction previously. It picks up about 6 yards. To your point, how disciplined do you have to be to play offensive line at Kansas State?
You have to be incredibly disciplined, but even more because of how disciplined they are. These linebackers from Texas Tech, I mean, what a nightmare. You see these guards pull around, you think it's run. It's really probably a run-pass option for Alex Delton, RPO as it's like to be called so often. And as Alex Delton pushes up to run the ball, if he sees that defense suck up, throw that ball right behind him. The thing the offensive line has to be careful about, though, is they can't get more than 3 yards down the field because that'll be an illegal man downfield, and he'll pull that thing back.
2nd and 9, Delton fires, Pringle, touchdown! 19-yard reception over the middle.
And once again, an outstanding play design. If you watch Dalton Schoen, he comes out here and stretches it out a little bit and creates a big window for that ball to Byron Pringle. And again, that's scheming for success. That creates a big hole to throw to. If Dalton Schoen, knowing it's man-to-man, runs the bubble route, creates a throwing lane, Alex Delton is rolling out to his right. And once again, it's pitch and catch.
Is Alex Delton healthy? 3 of 3 on that drive, 58 yards. Excellent touch on his passes, and Kansas State takes a 10-point lead. It's a great start for the redshirt sophomore. The fist pump, his team is up. Byron Pringle with the touchdown reception to give Kansas State a 10-point lead. Remember, he had the big kick return. Put him out past the 40-yard line to kick off that drive. And then on the other side, he's into the end zone.
Yeah, we expect DJ Reed to be the guy that's starting drives off for him well, but they have 2 options back there that can return those kicks for him.
Shimonek letting it fly, and Coutee has a big step on his defender. One play. Touchdown. From 75 yards.
And that is Texas Tech offense at its finest. They knew coming into this game they were going to have some matchup advantages in the slot. And their premier receiver, their best player is Keke Coutee. And right here, he's going to run the inside go route because he's got Eli Walker on him, and they like that matchup. And he just runs right by him and hauls that ball in. You give Keke Coutee that much space, he's going to hurt you every time. He's a dynamic receiver with big speed. And probably not a matchup that Kansas State will allow to happen again. That's a big-time mismatch. Eli Walker, a guy that hasn't had a ton of experience trying to guard a guy like Keke Coutee.
Now over 900 yards in his 9th game of the season. One of the best in the country. Nik Shimonek flexing the right arm with that throw. 7:26 left in the first half. Keke Coutee from 75 yards out. 1-play drive. Shimonek to one of his favorite targets at Texas Tech is back within 3. About the midway mark of the second quarter. Bill Snyder's offense to get it back momentarily. Great return from Byron Pringle previously. DJ Reed from about 6 yards inside that end zone. And there he goes, toppled at the 25. Approaching halftime, and Kansas State takes a quick knee, goes into the break, leading 17-14. Bill Snyder, 176-11 when his team leads at half. That's a 95% winning percentage. And the offense impressive for Kansas State. That's the end of the first half. Let's send it to Mike Hill in Los Angeles. Kansas State has won 5 of the last 6 against Texas Tech, and a 3-point lead on the road in Lubbock with Evan Moore, Kevin Fitzgerald. So it's a balanced scoring attack for the Wildcats, and they did it in the first half. Really kept Texas Tech on their toes defensively.
Yeah, you got to give this Kansas State offense credit. They've done a really good job of running the football with Alex Delton and using that run action and creating big throws down the field. It's been pretty frustrating for the Tech offense as well because they just haven't been able to develop any rhythm. They're 1 for 5 on third down. They had 2 drives where they generated points, but outside of that, it's been frustrating for that group all day long.
Yeah, and you said just the one big play for Nik Shimonek and Texas Tech. And a one-play 75-yard drive, a pass to Keke Coutee. We're going to get the football, though, to begin the second half. And an important start necessary for Nik Shimonek and Texas Tech.
Yeah, critical for them to come out and correct some of these errors. I think the thing that jumps out to me the most is what they are on third down. They're putting themselves in difficult spots on first and second down by not getting completions and getting longer third downs, making it difficult for them to convert and get some possessions going, longer possessions, because the ball's been in the hand of Kansas State so much in the first half. That's exactly what Kansas State wants.
Yep. David Buster's first half stats, and a quick pass out to Cameron Batson to begin the first drive here in the second half. It's a 9-yard pickup. Shimonek to Batson.
Once again, this drive is about finding the success that they had in that drive earlier that ended with the Trey King touchdown and getting Shimonek back in rhythm throwing the football.
And Shimonek puts it on the ground to Trey King. He had the touchdown run and that drive you referenced back in the first half. 168 yards through the air. He will throw for more than 300 a game. For the top 10 passers in the country statistically. First down, out of bounds, TJ Vasher. You like his game?
I do. He's a big guy, usually to the field after they move Dylan Cantrell to the boundary. TJ Vasher, also a basketball player, a big athletic guy that goes up and attacks the football. A lot of fun to watch.
That's why you like him. He was a basketball
That's
and
exactly
football
right.
star.
I didn't know if you'd catch that or not, Kevin.
Evan Moore, the former 2 sports star as well. King rips down. He's got a first.
Again, you see a little more of what we saw from the Oklahoma game with this Texas Tech offense, pulling a tackle around and leading up in the hole for the running back. They had some success with that last week.
Lets it fly. Pass caught, Cantrell inbounds. First down.
That's a great throw by Nik Shimonek. It's like the back shoulder fade ball that you've seen be popularized so much in the NFL. And he leaves that thing perfectly on the back shoulder of his big receiver. And that's kind of nonverbal communication there. You have to know the back shoulder's coming. That's not called in the huddle. Good job by both guys executing.
It's King, no running lane. 2nd and 10 coming up.
Kevin, you referenced the second half struggles. They played some really good teams the last 3 weeks. At West Virginia, home against Iowa State, and at Oklahoma. But when you're an offensive football team, even though when you have opponents like that, averaging 7 points a game in the second half is not going to sit well around here. They're trying to correct those issues here.
Will Gary was breathing down Shimonek's neck. Gets rid of it.
And you see with Nik Shimonek, there's a reason he only has 6 interceptions this year and has.
The quarterback is out of the pocket, the ball across the line of scrimmage, 3rd down.
As he smartly avoids grounding there by getting the ball back to the line of scrimmage, but he's willing to get rid of the football. He's willing to throw it away. A lot of guys don't realize that. They want to force things down the field, and avoiding those turnovers has been a strength of his this year.
Texas Tech has to get to the 24. Unloads. Pass caught. Coutee into the end zone for a second time. First lead for Texas Tech today.
Once again, a matchup they really like. Their premier receiver in the slot, man-to-man, and he just runs a fade route. That inside receiver comes underneath him to give him room towards the sideline. Maybe gets away with a little bit of push there at the end, but the good ones always find a way to get away with it. And another big play by Keke Coutee, their big play wide receiver.
Clayton Hatfield finishes the job. And the Red Raiders ahead for the first time, 21-17. That's his second touchdown of the day. There's Skylar Thompson. He's the redshirt freshman quarterback. Played last week when Alex Delton went out after a helmet-to-helmet hit. We may see him here, Evan. You said pregame. We're probably going to.
Yeah, not surprising. They've had some success in the first half throwing the football. And I think they might like some matchups they have on the back end after some of the run action. Skylar Thompson can run the ball as well, but he's considered to have the best arm of this quarterback trio. Young guy, so I'll be anxious to see how much they actually trust him to throw the football. But he has a lot of potential. They want to get him some good reps here. Yeah, Kansas State throwing for 167 yards in the first half. They're on pace for over 300 yards, so I'm sure this Texas Tech defense is thrilled to get Jashawn Johnson back to combat what Skylar Thompson, the young guy, might do. Last week had a chance to throw 6 balls, was efficient as a passer, but also as a runner. In fact, his first play from scrimmage last week was quarterback power. And welcome to the big leagues, huh, buddy? I know he had some reps before, but to be thrown right in there and stick your face right in there, not easy.
For the first time, Kansas State trails. That pass behind Zuber. Boy, Alex Delton, how good was he in the first half?
Well, this is definitely not a case of a guy getting benched. They're just trying somebody else for the first possession. But Alex Delton was so good in this first half, effectively running the football and then using some of that run action to find guys down the field. Very accurate. And I would expect Skylar Thompson, if Skylar's not as efficient as they would like here on this drive, they'll go back to Alex Delton very quickly because he was really good in the first half.
2nd and 10. Turns, looks towards the sideline. Pringle had his hands on it, incomplete.
Interesting going to 2 straight throws with Skylar Thompson. The first one was a little more of a run-pass option. The second one was a drop-back pass. But now you have a redshirt freshman on the road, backed up on his own 25 with 3rd and 10. If you're a coach, if you're Bill Snyder, you're a little nervous about it, but at the same time, these are how these guys grow up. A redshirt freshman, this is a good rep for him. Gets a chance to convert here, backed up.
Wildcats 5 of 8 on 3rd down. Plenty of time. Can't scamper free. Take it down behind the line. 4th down.
And a good job by the Texas Tech defense electing not to bring pressure against the young quarterback and sitting back in coverage and forcing him to find throwing lanes. He's unable to do it. Panics a bit, gets out of the pocket, and they're able to corral him. And Texas Tech is going to get the ball back here up 4. Good momentum here to start the second half.
That was Tony Jones who led the way to make that stop. Walsh gets it away. Here's Batson. And they rip him down. 25-yard line, a 54-yard punt. Flag at the end of the play. Texas Tech with the lead in the second half. Skylar Thompson was just out there, a quarterback for Kansas State to begin the second half, and a 3-and-out.
Yeah, it makes you, when he came out onto the field, we were wondering what was the catalyst for that, given the first half that Alex Delton had. He missed the second half of last game with a head injury, and makes you wonder what's going on, because the first half he had,
right,
that's a guy you want on the field right now.
So now back to Texas Tech. Scored on a 10-play drive earlier this quarter, and King for 3 yards.
Yeah, for this Texas Tech offense, Coutee has been the difference maker. They want to feature him, but they want production balance too. They have a number of guys on the outside, TJ Basher, Dylan Cantrell, that they want to feed as well, but Keke Coutee is their featured receiver. It's exactly what they want, is to make game-changing plays like he's done today.
Shimonek into traffic. Pass is picked off. Duke Shelley. No flags. 25-yard touchdown return.
Well, we talked about how Nik Shimonek does not turn the ball over very often, but on this particular play, it's a mistake by the quarterback and the wide receiver. They get zone coverage out here, and watch this corner trap on that outside. If you're Keke Coutee, you need to sit down and stay still, but he ends up chasing the ball because Nik Shimonek throws him into that zone defender, and he did not know that corner was going to fall off and stand there and make that play. Keke Coutee ends up running the route like it's a man-covered route and thought he could run away from inside pressure. Big mistake by both the quarterback and the wide receiver on that play, throwing right into that trap coverage.
Evan, the first interception this season for Duke Shelley. Back-to-back years, Kansas State has returned an interception for a touchdown. Last year, DJ Reed, and this time it's the junior from Tucker, Georgia.
This Kansas State defense finds ways to generate non-offensive touchdowns. We referenced it earlier, how good they are at it. And in this one, they basically tricked the senior quarterback, Nik Shimonek. He thinks this corner is going to back up. Instead, he stays put right there. Keke Coutee runs a route and pushes out. He really should stay still in zone coverage like that. Instead, he continues to run and throws right into that trap defender. Again, not a mistake you're going to be able to see Nik Shimonek make very often. He's a guy that's smart, sees coverages, processes things really quickly. But good job by Tom Hayes, basically tricking him on that one and finding 6 points.
That was just the 7th interception that Shimonek has thrown this year.
And there you go. We talked about the non-offensive touchdowns. Part of that is defense. Since 1999, 111. It's the best in the FBS.
There goes Coutee. And he finds him. Past the 40. And Moore drags him towards the boundary. So first down for Texas Tech.
Really good play call. Kind of a natural rollout, natural pick here by TJ Vasher. He comes in, not on purpose, but ends up picking the defender for Keke Coutee, creating just enough room to throw for the first down.
Shimonek speeds it up, and he takes off out of the pocket 5 yards. Pat Mahomes ran a bit last year. Shimonek takes off this time.
Cliff Kingsbury talks a lot about Pat Mahomes and the advantage he gave them on third down, especially 3rd and 7+. He's like, hey, we just call something and let Pat do his thing. Nick isn't quite the runner, but can really chuck the ball down the field. They just need to get him in good spots, give him enough time to let that thing go.
There's King, and he's bottled up. No gain. It's tanking again, the captain, former walk-on.
Almost feel like I'm repeating myself. Earlier in the game, we had Terrence Steele, the right tackle for Texas Tech, pulling around in the hole, and Trent Tanking meeting him head on, and he's able to shed the blocker once again and make the play. They didn't have a single start coming back at linebacker this year at Kansas State. And Trent Tanking has embraced that role. He's a leader for them. Really good football player.
It's been the rock for Tom Hayes, the defensive coordinator. Over the middle, Cantrell. Every time they've needed a nice pickup, he's been there. 9 yards on the completion. Shimonek moves again. Batson turns and thrown out.
Kevin, you get the sense with that big body into the boundary that Dylan Cantrell has. You'd like to see them use him even more. 3 catches. He's been consistent, does a really good job catching the football with his hands. And he doesn't need a whole lot of space to make a play. Big receivers like that can box guys out. As long as he gets that body in between the defender and the ball, he's got a chance to come down with it.
It's the seniors, his 25th straight start. He's from White House, Texas. Same hometown as Patrick Mahomes. Shimonek looking that way. There he is. First down.
Until DJ Reed proves that he can get up in the face of Dylan Cantrell at the line of scrimmage and disrupt his routes, I think you keep going to Dylan Cantrell. He's a sure-handed receiver. He's a good route runner, and he's a near throw for you. He always lines up to the boundary, so he's a closer throw for Nik Shimonek, and I think they need to continue to lean on him.
And matchups at the bottom of the screen. Stockton. And tackle that time after a gain of maybe 3.
Again, with Dylan Cantrell, he's to the near side of the field, so it's not as long of a throw, and is able to put enough pressure vertically on Reed and put his foot in the ground and run that out route. And again, doesn't need a whole lot of space. He's a big guy. Just put it in his range. His catch radius is enough to allow him to come down with it more often than not, and he's a big weapon for them.
Now Texas Tech slows it down. This is the 10th play of the drive. King bowls through Massey.
It's interesting the way we've seen them use these running backs today. Justin Stockton has been used on stuff that's more outside the tackle box, trying to get him from sideline to sideline, and then working Trey King more interior-wise between the tackles, because he showed the ability to do that well at many times throughout the season.
It really is an improved rush attack this year for Texas Tech.
A nice 1-2 punch between those two guys, and they missed that against Oklahoma with Stockton being out for that game.
Cantrell, slant route, inside the 10. Just the guy he's going to this drive, Evan.
Just runs a little under route. Feed that big body.
Coutee. Couple of yards shy of his 3rd touchdown of the day. Already has 2.
Especially when you get in the red area like this and zones are a little bit tighter, you really have to work these bigger receivers, and TJ Basher and especially Dylan Cantrell. There's not as much space to throw the football, and again, these bigger receivers don't need much space. Just put it in his area and let him go get it. I'm hoping to see them, now they got Cantrell to the field, so I'm hoping to see them take a shot to him right here, because he's got a ton of space to make a play here.
Reed on the coverage. Cantrell started to stumble, and the ball finds the turf. Cantrell is asking for the flag.
You know, Kevin, I like the no call. Cantrell comes off the line of scrimmage and tries to sell run because it's a play action pass. And watch him, he actually gets his hand on the defender like he's blocking him. So the defender has to be able to play football. So if you're gonna put your hands on the defender, they're gonna allow a little more flexibility as it comes to pass interference. Because DJ Reed at that point thinks it's run. Dylan Cantrell initiated the contact. I think that's a good no call.
So 3rd and goal, 3 yards out. Knock it on the door. King has 1 touchdown. Pile moving. And he's down what would be about 1.5 yards shy.
Good job by the Kansas State defense being stout up front. It's 4th down, and I think they're going to stay on the field. And I think their best bet here is, once again, to give these big receivers a chance. That last play, I would like to just see Dylan Cantrell run a slant route. You don't need to get your hands on the defender. He's playing man-to-man. He's looking right at you. He's not looking into the backfield. He doesn't care if it's run or not. So when he's got his eyes on you, run your route, give yourself a chance to make a play.
That's Cantrell in motion. Shimonek lobs it. Touchdown!
Interesting play call by the Texas Tech offense. If you saw the way they were lined up, they were actually selling quarterback sneak. For a second there, I thought they might sneak it with the way they had everybody lined up in 4-point stances up front. They end up doing a little bit of play action. It doesn't work, but credit Nik Shimonek for improvising a little bit and getting away from the rusher and delivering the football. Eludes the rusher. And that big body in Dylan Cantrell is not too difficult to find. And again, just put it in his area and he'll make a play.
6th touchdown catch of the year for Cantrell. That was Shimonek's 9th pass completion, I should say, on that drive. 9 of 10 on that drive, and it gives Texas Tech the lead. Now we're going back and forth. Cantrell hauls it in. 4-point edge. How about this? 15 plays in 6 minutes and 32 seconds for that scoring drive, Evan. Texas Tech football right there on the long drive, I guess.
Un-Texas Tech-like, if you will, but that's the guy right there, Dylan Cantrell. It was the biggest difference maker on that drive, and hopefully a sign of things to come on the next drive. Keep feeding that guy. They have not shown that they can stop him. Keep going back to it.
Got to stop DJ Reed. Sheds one, turns on the Jets at midfield. Finally slammed down inside the 40-yard line of Texas Tech's territory. 59-yard return, he continues to do it. Terrific Texas Tech drive, and Kansas State has to respond. It's still Skylar Thompson at quarterback, his second drive. Maybe a yard on the carry last time, a 3-and-out.
If you're the Kansas State offense, it's about finding the rhythm you had in the first half. Such a good job of using the run and setting up big plays behind the run for some of their RPO looks. They have to find that rhythm here with Skylar Thompson that they had with Alex Delton the entire first half.
Thompson, the redshirt freshman, he's from Independence, Missouri, the 2015 Missouri Gatorade Player of the Year, highly touted. Warren back, nothing.
Yeah, just a simple zone read play out of the gun. And until Skylar Thompson proves that he's a threat running the football, expect the Texas Tech defense to key heavily on the running back in those types of situations. They want to dare that young guy to keep the football and make a play with the ball in his hands. Not a whole lot of experience, something that Bill Snyder really values in this program. Texas Tech is daring him to make a play.
Hall of Famer went to him in the second half last week against Kansas. Yards to go. Pass caught. Zuber. Flags fly. Walks in.
I don't think it's going to count, Kevin. It's going to be illegal touching. He stepped out of bounds, and he was the first one to touch the football upon getting the pass. And so if you step out of bounds unforced, you cannot be the first one to touch the football.
Receiver went out of bounds on his own, came back in, was the first to touch the pass. By rule, lost it down to the previous spot. Fourth down.
Boy, the killer is the loss of down.
Yeah, you got to watch him here. It's spatial awareness. Here he is right here. As he gets out into the open, he kind of starts to drift a little bit. You watch that left, I think he's going to turn back around. That left foot is going to step out of bounds right there. And therefore, he cannot be the first guy to touch the ball. If that ball were tipped, he'd be okay. He cannot be the first guy to touch the football. Unfortunate turn of events. There's the inch. You talk about game of inches. That's the difference right there between Skylar Thompson getting a nice big play for a touchdown and this thing coming back with a loss of down. And now they find themselves, what a big swing. Instead of a big touchdown play, they find themselves 4th and 9 and giving the ball back to Texas Tech.
Ball's out to the 20 for Texas Tech with 3:04 left in the third. Isaiah Zuber, close. Jones, AT&T Stadium, the spot in Lubbock. Texas Tech with a slim edge late in the third. And the Red Raiders have the football back, Evan.
Yeah, they developed a little bit of a trend on that last drive, especially to Dylan Cantrell. He was a star as they pushed that ball down the field and even finished it off in the end zone. If I'm Texas Tech, I keep the rhythm that Nik Shimonek seemed to establish on that last drive and continue to feed these receivers, especially Dylan Cantrell. It's 7 catches for 81 yards.
On the ground is Stockton, plants his feet. It's a solid pickup. Maybe 5 yards or so. Shimonek today, 23 of 37. Coutee across midfield. And now the first downs are starting to pile up for Texas Tech.
Really have to like the second half adjustments that Cliff Kingsbury made to try to avoid some of the issues they've had for most of the year in the second half.
Not much on the first down run.
This is when this offense is at its best. It has its rhythm, it's moving really quickly, it's getting 3, 4, 5 yards of play and finding themselves, if they get to third down, in a really third and short type situation. They're more than happy to continue to push this down the field on Shimonek's arm.
He's approaching 3,000 yards on the season. The work that he's done today. Still Stockton in the backfield. Batson. And tackle close to the 40, 5-yard gain.
One of the things we've seen a lot of today is Nik Shimonek's, the power they give him at the line of scrimmage pre-snap. He's changed plays here and there. That time he saw double pressure coming off the edge. Figured I can get this thing out of my hand quick for a nice little gain to make it third and much more manageable.
Relaxed tempo for Texas Tech this quarter.
Kansas State playing a little tighter to the line of scrimmage. If you look down here to the boundary, once again, they're exposed with Dylan Cantrell.
Batson again to complete expectedly our third quarter.
This is the end, third quarter.
Texas Tech with a couple touchdowns in the third quarter. And back ahead, 28-24, heading to the fourth. In Lubbock, Texas, Kansas State has defeated Texas Tech 5 of the last 6 meetings, but the Red Raiders at home and in front. Back with Evan Moore, Kevin Fitzgerald. Thanks for making us a part of your Saturday. And that third quarter turned into a Red Raider third quarter.
I can promise you Cliff Kingsbury is very happy about what they've been able to do in the second half so far. With the struggles they've had the last 3 weeks, 21 total points over 3 second halves over the last 3 weeks. He's very happy with where they're at right now.
And Coutee with 2 scores today. Punch into the end zone here. They have hit their cumulative total of second half touchdowns for the last 3 weeks.
And again, this Kansas State defense is no slouch. This is a tough football team, and they've played some really good football teams the last 3 weeks, but this Kansas State team was picked number 3 preseason in the Big 12, and this is a good football team. They had some injuries to deal with. They had a lot of guys back as well.
This is Shimonek, the keeper. That's enough for a first down. He's channeling the inner Pat Mahomes from a year ago. Cliff Kingsbury's trying to get this team back to a bowl. Floats it deep. Knocked away. Duke Shelley got his hand up. And no flag.
Yeah, they like to go the jump ball to the big TJ Vasher, and you got to give Duke Shelley credit for using the sideline. Look at him look back for the ball. That's key. Got to look back for the football. He had some contact, but if you look there, not much place to throw the football. He used that sideline and pushed him wide, and it makes it a really tough throw for the quarterback.
Shimonek has passed for over 300 yards again today. Walker is chasing. Vasher bobbles. It's a big one.
He's had the case of the drops today. This is his third one, and this is the one that you learn in middle school. Look at that thing all the way in before you look up the field. He was thinking touchdown before that ball got all the way to him. And if you're Cliff Kingsbury, you just tell him, look that thing all the way in. Worry about the touchdown after it's secured. It happens to the best of them. It was the third time today for TJ Vasher, though.
So 3rd and 10. Remember, Texas Tech does have Clayton Hatfield back. That is their #1 field goal kicker. He's 90% on his kicks in his career. Try the end zone, though. Vasher got the feet down. Touchdown.
A great job by TJ Vasher. Boy, has he proven he can run with that big frame. Runs the post route, and Keke Coutee's route ends up taking away the safety. If you watch Coutee, he pushes up the field, takes away number 21, leaving a great throwing lane for TJ Vasher down the field. And Duke Shelley thought he had help inside. But when Keke Coutee runs that route right there, that route combination's lethal against quarters in the red zone.
His 4th catch This is the largest lead for Texas Tech. Now up 11 in the fourth. Nik Shimonek over 300 yards passing again. Gets it done to TJ Vasher. 12 plays, 80 yards. This is the second drive in this half for Texas Tech of 12 or more plays. It ends in a TJ Vasher touchdown catch and the largest lead of the day for Texas Tech. Stumbled early on, now back up by 11. Byron Pringle. There is Pringle. And close to the 35. Okay, so it's been Skylar Thompson at quarterback in the second half. Let's just go back in time here. Alex Delton last week. This is the end of the first half. The helmet-to-helmet collision at Kansas. Today, took this hit in the second quarter. Colin Hill connected helmet-to-helmet. Now, he finished this drive, Evan, but we have not seen him since.
Yeah, he also didn't even do the kneel down at the end of the first half, and we don't even see him on the sideline. So it makes you wonder if there's potentially some symptoms that came back up from that injury he sustained against KU last week.
Thompson to Heath.
Obviously, a serious situation. Head injury is nothing that you want to mess with. So if that is the case, obviously we wish him the very best in trying to recover from that nasty hit he took in the second quarter of this game.
No question. Colin Hill was ejected, by the way, on that hit. That was a targeting penalty. And he was thrown out of the game.
That was clear as day, too. I mean, the first one, they're not always as clear, and I think fans get angry sometimes, but that one on Alex Delton in the second quarter was clear as day, and that's why the rule was brought about.
Red shirt freshman looking. He's got to move now. And his man makes the catch. Pringle out of bounds. 14 yards, and Thompson used his feet to keep the play alive.
Really good job by the young quarterback. So often these young quarterbacks, when they don't see what they want with their first couple reads, they're gone. And we know Skylar Thompson can run. He has the ability to run, but when you get outside the pocket and you use your legs as a way to find more throwing lanes like he's done, you can convert those third and long situations, and that's killer against a defense that only rushes 4. Good mobility and good accuracy down the field by Skylar Thompson.
And there he is at the bottom of the screen. Warmack again with the direct snap. 3 yards. So Kansas State, a few moments ago, helped out by the personal foul penalty, and they are approaching the red zone. They once led 24-21, now down a couple scores, but driving.
And they've been really good in the red zone historically as a program. They've had some issues this year, scoring on roughly 83% of their trips down there. In the past, they've been over 90%. Bill Snyder just wants points here with this 11-point deficit.
An excellent field goal kicker as well, who's arguably the best of the conference. But Thompson is moving. Zuber, another first down. That's Isaiah Zuber from Stone Mountain, Georgia. Kansas State was always his dream school, and he makes the play. First down.
Yeah, for a sophomore, Isaiah Zuber shows a lot of savviness when he gets on the outside of the defense. He slows down in that zone. There's a defender right outside that's trying to trap him like we saw earlier, but he slows down and allows Skylar Thompson to deliver the football for a first down.
From the 12 to Barnes. Short gain. 4 yards for Barnes. We haven't seen him much since the first quarter.
Really good point. I think in the running game, the feature back was really Alex Delton in the first half. And so far this half, you've seen this team throw the ball a bit more with Skylar Thompson, both because of his arm talent, and I think they like some of the matchups they had in the first half against this Texas Tech secondary.
Skylar Thompson, he was on the scout team last year. His linebacker said they would torch him. And no Alex Delton. Down he goes. Tony Jones led the way. That's a much-needed play for Texas Tech.
It really is, and we talked about what Kansas State is doing offensively. I think part of the reason you're seeing them throw it around a little more is they can't afford to lose Skylar Thompson. Jesse Ertz, we know, is not available today. Alex Delton has not come back to the game. We haven't seen him on the sideline. So that leaves Skylar Thompson. They don't want to lose this quarterback. I mean, exposing him to too many hits is obviously a dangerous thing, so he's throwing the ball quite a bit here in the second half.
Behind Thompson, it's just Hunter Hall. He's really the only other true quarterback left. 3rd and 11. Fires, pass dropped.
Had a shot to Isaiah Zuber low and away on the sideline. He wouldn't have scored. It would have put him on around the 2-yard line or so for maybe a manageable 4th down play. He was out of bounds anyways. Wouldn't have made the play.
He was going to be out.
Yep.
Well, you just said it, Evan. They need points regardless.
Well, you get these 3 and you make it a 1-score game. Here in the 4th quarter, the defense has to find a way to get a stop against the Texas Tech offense that's been moving the ball pretty much at will in the second half.
Again, McCrane is probably the best kicker in this conference. This is an easy one for him from 30 yards out. Hit from 45 in the first quarter, so he is 2 for 2, and he gets his team back within a score. Nice work from Skylar Thompson. Bill Snyder's team back within 1 score. Kansas State connected on a field goal, kicks it back to Texas Tech. It is a 1-score game again, Evan. As Stockton sprints forward. Look, this is a really big one for both of these teams. They're sitting at 4-4. Tech has lost 3 in a row. Kansas State, a similar stretch a couple weeks back, and they're pushing for bowl eligibility, both teams.
Want to get to that 6th win. If you look at Tech's, theirs is more manageable. After this, Baylor, TCU, and Texas. Finding 2 wins between today and those 3 games is going to be important. And Kevin, this program has not seen 2 consecutive losing seasons since the 84-85 seasons.
Right.
And Cliff knows that. He's not trying to make history here and trying to be the first guy that's done this in that many years. So
up the middle, and that's a 1st down run. And okay, yes, the fan base wasn't too happy about missing a bowl last season, but remember, you're at 4-4. The defense is greatly improved this year. A step forward has been made, and right now in prime position to pick up that 5th win.
Yeah, there's no question there's been improvements on defense, but the frustration here has been, hey, you know, offensively, we're an offensive football team. We just haven't been as efficient in the second half.
Shimonek takes his time. Stockton looking for a lane. They've had some solid 3, 4, 5-yard pickups on this drive. Look, Tech is marching, approaching the 6-minute mark. They could go up 2 scores again right here if they continue moving.
And if you're the defensive coordinator, Tom Hayes, for Kansas State, you're staring right in the face your 3rd straight 400-yard passer on your defense. Shimonek not too far away now, over 370 yards. He should surpass 400 yards this week, and that's cause for concern for this Kansas State secondary.
King buried. It's tanking again. The only score for Kansas State in the second half. Duke Shelley's interception return for a touchdown. No points offensively, outside of Matthew McCrane's field goal. Tech on 3rd down in the second half. Evan, 9 of 10.
That's been the difference. It's not all on 3rd down. It's on 1st and 2nd down due to create manageable 3rd downs. They're converting more often.
Nice touch. Coutee. He's feeling it today.
He is a good-looking football player, and he's always on the same page as Nik Shimonek. As you watch him run this quick out route, he always seems to have the timing down. And those slot receivers that can create quick separation like he does can be a quarterback's best friend. A lot of times it's tight ends, but in this offense, they don't really have a tight end. They rely on the passing game, so it comes down to their slot receivers. And if you watch Keke Coutee run routes, he doesn't need a whole lot of space. He can get separation because of how quick he is. There's a difference between being really fast and really quick, and he's both. Gets a ton of separation.
With those numbers, he's now over 1,000 yards receiving this year. K-State not bad on the run D, but it's those big plays.
Trent Tanking seems to show up on almost every play. One of their smartest players as well. Always gets them in the right position.
Second half last week, Evan, against Oklahoma for Texas Tech compared to this second half.
Big
Total
difference.
game changer.
Totally different game. And if I'm Cliff Kingsbury here, I'm trying to find a way to put points on the board. Even if it's a field goal, you make this a 2-possession game with about 4.5 minutes left. With Kansas State's offensive woes in the second half, it'd be tough for him to overcome.
8 yards to go, and King ridden down from behind. That time it was Walker. Sets up a third. Is this Kansas State? Sets up a third and short.
And again, if you're Shimonek, you got to be smart here. You have an 8-point lead. We'll take 3 points. Make this thing a 2-possession game. We don't need a touchdown here. Obviously, you'd like to score a touchdown. However, you don't want to force one, give up a turnover, and make this thing a little more interesting.
Shimonek, 384 yards passing, 4 TDs. Big play for the Kansas State defense. Shimonek escapes. Not enough, it appears, for the first down.
Good job tucking that thing away. I thought he should have come down low to TJ Vasher, who was all alone on the near side.
Second of the half. 30-second timeout.
What's impressed you about what Cliff Kingsbury has done since the start of the second half?
I think he's allowed his playmakers to get out in space and make plays. They haven't relied on the run game a whole lot, but getting the ball in the hands of Dylan Cantrell, Keke Coutee, and even TJ Vasher on that touchdown. He's put the ball in his playmakers' hands, and Shimonek has executed as much as you can ask him to do.
Clayton Hatfield missed it. Pulled it from 32 yards out.
Boy, have they had their issues on special teams or what? That's the 8th field goal in seven weeks, all under 45 yards that they've missed. Obviously an issue in this play is to make it a 2-score game. Now Kansas State with a chance to come down and tie it.
3:40 left in the fourth quarter. Kansas State football, a chance to drive down the field and tie this one. Skylar Thompson, and K-State takes over after Texas Tech's missed field goal. Big gain over the middle. Dalton showed, and he's off to the races. Tripped up inside the 30. 54 yards. Skylar Thompson showing off the arm down the middle.
Watch Dalton Schoen here, number 3. He runs the seam route and kind of does a switch release and ends up with a ton of space away from that middle safety. Breaks a tackle for a big gain. But once again, credit Skylar Thompson for being patient in the pocket. This is a redshirt freshman. Doesn't have a lot of real game experience. And he looks comfortable stepping into the throw for a big play and putting Kansas State within striking range now of tying this football game.
Tables have completely turned in 2 plays. That's Barnes for a short gain. Two plays ago, we were anticipating Texas Tech was about to take a 2-score lead. And Clayton Hatfield, Evan, missed a 32-yarder. He has been money in his career.
Yeah, it hasn't been all him the last 7 games, but they missed 8 field goals under 45 yards. Never does it show itself worse in a situation like this where you're trying to put yourself in firm control of the football game.
In fact, that was Hatfield's lone miss among those 8. Thompson shoved down. That was Parker on the tackle.
Thompson, the ball carrier.
One timeout left for Kansas State.
They're going to have to force the issue here. This is 4-down territory. Obviously, they can't afford to give this ball back to Texas Tech. They're not going to go for a field goal, that's for sure. So expect them to give their best first down shot here, but they're going to get 2 attempts at it.
Kansas State, 3 of its 4 losses this year by 1 score. Thompson lets it go on 3rd and 2, incomplete. Here comes a flag. That was Jalen Lane on the coverage.
I think he was there a little bit early, had his hands on the receiver. Some kind of variation of pass interference or holding here.
Pass interference, number 28. Defense, spot foul, automatic, first down.
There's no question that's a good call. He gets beat on the comeback route or the stop. He reaches out, grabs the offensive player to pull himself back into a position to defend the pass. Can't do it. It's going to cost you every time. It's a costly penalty too, because now you're looking at 1st and 8. 1st and goal from the 8-yard line. Again, one score and a 2-point conversion puts this thing as a tie ball game.
Dimmel and Barnes in the backfield along Thompson. Fakes a pitch. Still free. Our field judge says he is down at the 1. Looked like the knee came down just before the goal line.
What a play by Skylar Thompson. He looked like he had committed to pitching the football to the back and looked kind of dead to rights, and then works his way back inside and just grinds for as many yards as he can. But you see that right knee hit the ground. That ball had not crossed the goal line quite yet. So what about the half-yard line here, Kevin? And expect Kansas State to pound this football.
2nd and goal. Sneak again. Signal is touchdown. Would be the first offensive touchdown for Kansas State in the 2nd half.
On the field, there's a touchdown.
And if it stands, 2-point conversion coming up.
Yeah, that was 2nd down. I expected them to do that play all 4 downs that they had to. They were going to find a way to get that ball across the goal line. And now the 2-point play comes down. He gets 2 guys behind him pushing him, and it's just about getting that 1 yard. If you're the quarterback, also finding a small gap to kind of jump through. Oftentimes you see guys kind of jump over and reach the ball over the goal line as well. Good execution there, but now comes the 2-point play, and if you're Dana Dimmel on your call sheet up in the booth, you have 2 2-point plays that you go to, and right now he's trying to choose between one of those 2. These are predetermined deals because you don't find yourself in 2-point conversion situations very often. So this is a play they've drilled a few times this week, and they feel good about it.
Here we go. Thompson, shown. We are tied.
Well, Texas Tech came out with a variation of man coverage, and they got shown out into the flat really quick and got the ball out of Thompson's hands. Probably the right play call because they identified what was going on the outside from a coverage standpoint. You're always going to get man-to-man coverage down here. The windows are too tight. A little bit of a natural rub by the receivers, and all you need is about 2 feet in a situation like that for Dalton Schoen. You force that defensive back to go over the top of number 4. Creates a throwing lane. 2-point conversion is good. Inside this area, inside the 5-yard line, when you're playing man defense to a 2-receiver side, you have to know that play is coming if you're Texas Tech. There's ways to beat it, whether you switch or whether you do something on the defensive side. You got to know that play is coming. Very, very difficult to defend. Yeah, we had a really good time visiting with him this week as well. Just longtime Kansas State fan to make a play like that. What a dream come true for him.
Conservative to Stockton.
Interesting call by Cliff Kingsbury. I think he's decided that I don't like the odds of my offense pushing it down the field without making a mistake in about 30 to 40 seconds. I'd rather push this thing to overtime. He's betting his offense can get the better of this Kansas State defense in an overtime period.
This one is headed for overtime. Will be the second overtime game Kansas State has played in. And the first for Texas Tech. The drive from one end to the other. Kansas State ties it. Overtime next. Kansas State ties this one up with a 5-play, 80-yard drive. It takes 3 minutes. And here we go.
And if you're Texas Tech, when you get the ball, your kicking woes are in the back of your head, knowing that haven't been too successful, so they need to find ways to get touchdowns.
We will see. Alex Barnes, top option at tailback. Out 3 yards. Kansas State lost in overtime earlier this year against Texas. That was a double overtime loss. Texas Tech, this is their first overtime game since October of last year. They went on the road, beat TCU in double overtime. Barnes amidst a little bit of confusion, a big pickup down to the 12. A lot of scrambling right before that previous snap.
Yeah, Texas Tech struggles to get lined up. And good job by Skylar Thompson getting that ball snapped and taking advantage of the fact that the defensive line is kind of all over the place. Look at them, they're not even set. And look at that gap in the middle that Winston Dimmel leads up for him for a nice big gain.
Here we go on 1st and 10. Short run, it's Barnes once again. Kansas State can pick up a first down.
I like what Kansas State is doing here. Obviously running the ball is something everybody wants to do, but in this kind of situation, turnovers are very costly. If Texas Tech were able to generate a turnover, all they would need is a quick field goal or a touchdown to win this thing. So Kansas State electing to take care of the football in these first 3 plays.
Thompson looking, fires. A catch and a touchdown for Byron Pringle.
They've done so much of this run-pass option today. They pull the right tackle around and create the illusion that they're running the football. It sucks the linebackers up and creates throwing lanes behind them to Byron Pringle. And it's just pitch and catch for Skylar Thompson and Byron Pringle. Good job coming down with that ball in the midst of getting contact and securing the football for a score.
Matthew McCrane, the 5th-year senior from Texas. Perfect on extra points this year. And the Wildcats have the 7-point advantage after 1 possession in overtime.
Watch Byron Pringle fall in right behind the backers that are sucked up due to the run action. Does a good job going low and getting that ball into his body, but credit Skylar Thompson for throwing the ball the only place that Byron Pringle can catch it. Doesn't give the defender a chance to go through him. And Byron Pringle does a nice job putting his body in between the defender and the football for the touchdown.
What do you think Skylar Thompson is thinking right now? And a little bit of a rough start to the second half, and boom, executes a couple touchdown drives back-to-back in the most critical moment.
Got to give him credit for staying with it. A tough young kid. Big game on the road. And now it's Shimonek's turn to show what he can do in this overtime period.
Here we go. Coutee. And he's blasted behind the line. That was Kirby. Loss of 3.
Want to go with a quick tunnel screen to Keke Coutee to give him a chance to push the ball up the field. Sniffed out well by the Kansas State linebackers. Now you put yourself behind the curve a little bit on 2nd and 13. Obviously 4-down territory as you need a touchdown to tie this thing.
Shimonek fires, catch, Cantrell. You've had your eye on him all half.
Keep working him to the boundary. He's a big guy, he's 6'3", going against a 5'9" corner. Kansas State's playing closer to the line of scrimmage with no safety. I expect them to take advantage of the middle of the field.
Looking, knocked down. That was tanking, got his paw out there.
They had Basher on a crossing route. Like I said, it looked like 0-man coverage with no free safety. Got some options on the back end. Actually, those linebackers ended up falling back in some throwing lanes and tipping that ball. Once again, you gotta like the matchup. Down at the bottom with Dylan Cantrell. That 6'3" body against DJ Reed, the 5'9" corner. It's a mismatch for this Texas Tech offense.
Cantrell, 8 catches and a touchdown. Maybe 2, incomplete. That was DJ Reed on him. He's been there all game.
Well, they go for it here. And he goes down and puts his foot in the ground and runs a little bit of an out route. And they try to get it to him quick. And DJ Reed might have gotten away with that. He got there a little bit early. The official elects to not throw the flag. I think he's holding that right arm. And so as a DB, when you grab that arm and don't allow the receiver to put his arm up, the problem is that was behind Dylan Cantrell's body. And that linesman probably never saw him grab that arm and let it go.
Shimonek right behind those two. He's got a 3rd and goal. Vasher makes the catch about 4 yards shy of the goal line. This is a 4th down coming up.
This is it. And again, obviously I expect Shimonek to throw the football. Still like this matchup down low with Cantrell. Last time they tried what's known as a fade stop. They created, they'll look like they're gonna run a fade, then he kind of breaks it out. Still like the matchup down there. He's on the 3 receiver side, so you have Vasher up top as well. Too far.
Floats it. Too far. Kansas State wins on the road in Lubbock.
What a win for Skylar Thompson. Wasn't great the entire second half, but was able to do it when it mattered the most. And this Kansas State defense holds on and forces Shimonek to throw it out of the back of the end zone. Got to give your receivers a chance. In that case, threw it up to the big Dylan Cantrell, but just threw it a little too far.
It's been a couple years since Kansas State has come from behind late in the 4th. Skylar Thompson, the drive you mentioned. And now the Wildcats have won 6 of their last 7 against Texas Tech. 1 inch closer to bowl eligibility, now 5-4. Here's the last play.
Again, he's trying to go up top to Dylan Cantrell and just got to give your receiver a chance. You don't worry about an interception in that case. You just got to let him go up and try to fight for the football. And you throw it out of bounds. Unfortunately, you're done before the play is even over. A big win for the Kansas State Wildcats.
For Evan Moore and our entire excellent crew up, Kevin Fitzgerald. Right now, we're going to send you out to Bedlam. Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt on the call.